I'm kicking off. Hello and welcome to everyone. We got the UFC fighter Andrew Ewell. So Andrew, can you please tell a bit on yourself and a bit on your achievements and so on? Can you please introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, Andre, aka Dragonfish Ewell, or mostly known as Mr. Highlight. Actually, many names to keep going around. Hopefully, whatever ends up reaching to the world on that side or in the world period, just let them know that it's me. Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you. When did you start your MMA career? When did you start training?
Truth be told, I've been training at age of 7. But never really took it serious because I was into doing football, track, and everything. So as soon as I turned 18, which is about 2015 or 2005/6, I was in there. Made the decision to go ahead and go full boxing, even though I was really known and good at wrestling and Taekwondo. But boxing was my calling. Just practicing Roy Jones Jr., So that ended up burning into me taking control into the fighting game, the mixed martial arts.
Why Mr. Highlight?
Because the people ended up picking that. I gave like a simple choice and a decision with multiple names, and everybody kind of voted into the Mr. Highlight. So when I use the words like People's Champ, and I end up using that, everybody uses that because I always let the people kind of like decide who my next opponent, or I end up asking the people. So it's me kind of keeping it in there. So Mr. Highlight came out, and on top of that, I always have highlights at every fight that I end up doing. So this highlight kind of like fit, even though I'm not a big fan of the name, but I roll with the name.
Yeah, I understand. You also roll with my nickname, despite I am kinda, fans chose it, so you must keep your mouth shut, you know how it goes. So what is your fundamental martial art? You said boxing, taekwondo. Do you have a basic martial art, or you're just a mix?
Basic martial arts, you could say it's boxing, but it's really a big fan of taekwondo because I love to actually use my kicks. I actually have really great kicks. I ended up having a bucket tear last January 2019, and it kind of like pulled me away from using my legs, but now since I ended up getting the surgery 3 weeks ago, just practicing since I broke my arm in my last fight, that it kind of gives me a lot of time to basically focus and heal. So right now I got a good knee, and 3 weeks I'm going to be able to come back and start kicking people in the face. So I'm excited about that. But I can go ahead and say mix, or my style is more with water because, it differs and changes like the weather.
Yeah, so you said, alright, taekwondo, boxing, so I guess you have a favorite strike, I guess. Do you have one, or you have more of them?
All of them. Yeah.
All of them.
Striking, man. It's just amazing. I end up loving it. So, yeah, whatever ends up I burn into wherever that day occurs, that's the one that I'm a big fan of, So it's wherever the water takes me.
Yeah. And favorite submission, you have one or no?
Submissions? Oh, yeah. I actually got 4.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I got 4. Favorite one is, the top one is obviously I call it the Afro guillotine, just because when I used to have an Afro, anybody that kind of shot always ended up landing that submission. But I've been definitely learning all my heel hooks and basically leg locks and whatnot. So a lot of footworks and for jiu-jitsu starting to become a fan, and I ended up landing obviously a triangle / armbar. So I'm actually becoming fans of a lot of jits right now, since I have our professor that's been working with me for close to a year now, and making sure that every move is basically my favorite move now.
Great. All right. Do your tattoos have some meaning?
To be honest, every one of them. Definitely every one of them. The one that's on my chest that everybody ends up asking me, it's Hebrew name. It says Yahweh, which is God's true name. So everybody that ends up in church, they'd be saying God, his real name is Yahweh. Mm-hmm. That's actually one of tattoo I'm favored in, that I actually do love most, because never change it. Just know that there's a higher being in my life. And then on top of that, I've been following on the Buddhism and everything. So like a lot of these tattoos is kind of like based off of basically my warrior ways. If you can go ahead and sit there and state it, like Japanese warrior ways. Literally just got two tattoos or big back piece that's I'm actually working on. It's two samurais, and I'm definitely like my mindset is like when I'm in war, I am like the samurai. I'm the Afro samurai, inside the cage. So yeah, every tattoo that I have, it's a change in my life and pushes me, because I did like a full cover up on the whole left arm. So it's just kind of like me introducing myself to the world to let them know that I was able to change, and my change made myself get where I am today. And every day I'm still changing to be a better me. So there it is.
I heard a rumor that you haven't had amateur fights at all. Is it true or not?
Yeah, it's true. Just the fact is, I went boxing and pro. I was pro in boxing and everything, and the amateur fight that I had in pro for amateur boxing that I had was it was like 10, but reality in boxing is a lot different from mixed martial arts amateur life. It's more focused on the hands and everything, and the boxing technique and that whole nine of people wanting to brawl and kill you. It's like 2 minutes of just bathroom stall fights. But everything ends up coming into that moment where the time that I ended up deciding to make the full transfer over into the MMA, that I was actually okay with not having an amateur fight, because I already knew it's about valuing up and knowing basically having a strong mind and knowing what you want to do in life. And I already knew I wanted to be pro, and I already knew that I was really great at what I was at, or what I was doing with my hands and everything. And it's an easy process of learning on the way up to the top. And I made it basically to the lead to push me to the top. And the top is me being number one, and the world knows that I'm number one, and I'm pound for pound,
Can we talk about your professional MMA debut? How did it go?
Professional MMA debut, I ended up getting a TKO stoppage first round. It was exciting. And just the fact of saying that my family and friends were there, and they knew that, all right, this is like the start of my career, and this is the picking that I ended up choosing. Because people end up understanding, like, I ended up giving up my whole job for it. I ended up cutting everything off. I ended up living the life of just simply training and basically doing what I can of scrapping up money to, survive type thing, And by me making that decision and me doing that literally pushed me where I am now. And a lot of people don't understand, like, putting everything you have into what you're trying to do, or what you end up loving, or know what you're great at. It's a big difference. It's a big different story, You'll end up seeing the progress that you want and progress that you end up meeting. And I ended up making that progress, and I ended up doing that. So my pro debut was amazing, and it was all strikes. My coaches were mad at me that day because I didn't knee. At the time, I was still learning on the knee part. It was all hands on that fight. And that followed up into the next two fights after that.
So your third fight was also TKO, right?
Third fight, yeah. It was a TKO. Second one went to decision. My fourth fight, I ended up losing a debatable fight that I actually won, and they knew it. It was just that the dude had his corner man was known, and it sucks that you end up getting fights like this. But at the same time, don't leave it into the judge's hands. So every time that ends up getting left in the judge's hands, we end up understanding, don't leave it in the judge's hands. So it's finish the fight and put everything you have, or put your heart out on inside the cage, Put it out on the table, and that's what I do when I fight.
When did you fight for the title first time? Was it Lake in GC Featherweight Championship, or?
It was Gladiator, and it was for a featherweight. I actually moved up weight to fight for this, and I forgot my man's name. But that was my second. Say it again.
Juan Beltran.
Beltran. Okay, that was my second loss. My man is a great dude. Actually has a fight coming up in April 4th, and I should be going unless my son's born that day or that week. But if not, I'll be there just to show support for him and some other fighters that are also on that card. But I moved up to 45 to fight him, and it was a back and forth fight. First round, I ended up knocking him. It looked like a KO. It was a knockout, but I ended up re-waking him up with the punch. when he hit the floor. Like I rushed it, hit him again. He wakes up, and then his jits life kicked in, and then yeah, he ended up submitting me in the third round. And this is at the time that I was like really a white belt, and he was a brown belt, I believe, going on to being a black belt, or he was a black belt, it was one or the other. But ended up learning that I needed a lot more work on my jits. So I worked on my jits, and I ended up getting like 2 submissions after that. And then, but yeah, so every time there was like I ended up losing by submission, and we ended up tweaking up my my jits. And this time I got me a legit super professor from he got his black belt from Gracie. So Carlson Gracie. So I'm learning under him. His name is Sean. Yeah, so it's Professor Sean. So I've been working with him, and now I'm moving around perfectly with a lot of black belts. A lot of black belts.
So you fought for the title, I think, 1 fight later or 2 fights later. Was it when you dropped down a weight?
When I dropped back down, I ended up getting like 2 or 3 more fights in.
Yeah.
And after that, I ended up fighting for another title against Ryan Lilly.
Yeah.
Which is that was another title fight when I ended up fighting him for it. Arguable freaking fight because they all know I won, but he won, and ain't nothing I can end up basically being sad about the situation. Because again, it comes down to that moment. Don't leave it up to the judges again. So arguably, I won. Everybody felt like that I won. The judges knew I won. His coach knew I won. But again, he won. He was favored that day. And again, that's a learned lesson. But nothing but love to Ryan. He's making remarkable freaking status points at the moment. The dude's doing so much work and making so much improvement. So I can't wait to end up getting that rematch with him in the future as well. Whenever he makes himself to the UFC, which he should be already there or knocking on the door. So after that, then I followed up 2 more fights after where I ended up fighting for another 35-pound belt, won that, and then the one after that went up to 45 and won that one. And then I went to King of the Cage, dominated, ended up losing against Patrick Nix for 1 belt, for the King Cage belt. But after that, my career basically took off. And when I say took off, I ended up taking on one of Misha Tate's pupils or prospects out of his gym that he was supposed to walk through me and then go straight to the UFC. I gave a stoppage on that. So I ended up beating him. And that one was, I forgot his name, but it was the King of the Cage fight in, I believe, February or January, end of January 2018. Ended up fighting him, or could have been, 18. So anyways, ended up beating him, and that followed into my next fight with LFA, and then LFA to the CES title fight. And that fight was a really great fight, because I ended up fighting like the hometown favorite, and I ended up pulling it off in the 3rd round, and it was a tough fight. And I tried to keep it exciting, and he tried to keep it exciting, kind of like backfired in a way, but it came back around, and I was the better fighter. But nothing but love to him as well. So yeah, and then that followed up into me making it to the UFC.
Oh yeah. It was great, I guess. Your fastest win was against Dominic Nichols, right? Those 20 seconds.
Yeah. Followed up to that one. Yeah.
At LFA, when your opponent went down, you didn't want to follow up. I mean, he was already rocked, but you could have followed up, but you didn't. Why?
Oh, because at that time, I was all about the walk-away game. Like, my walk-away was really strong because it was, I believe his name was Gonzalez. No, Lopez. It was Lopez, the fight before Trent Moe. So the fight before Trent Moe, the one I did the walk-off knockout, it kind of fell into the next fight when I fought Trent Moe of a walk-off knockout. So I kind of like picked up a two-fight trend of walking off, and it kind of came into a habit every time, I land a nice hard shot, it hit the ground, I just simply walked off. Because that was the mistake I did when I fought Beltran. If I would have walked off, I would have won the fight. But I chased it, and when I chased it, I re-woke him up, and that was the lesson I learned. So I told everybody, anytime that ever happens again, I'm just going to start walking off. And, so it's like it'd be like a good knockdown or a good knockout, just simply walk off, and that's what we call it. So you'll end up seeing that into the UFC. So I'm going to be walking off on a lot more people once I end up coming back.
Let us talk about reach and height advantage. I mean, you have never squared off against a taller opponent than you, or?
Oh yeah, that's true. Right now, I am the tall one in the weight class, and not only that, I got the reach advantage. Everybody knows I have a reach advantage of 76 inches, and I'm 5'11". Even though UFC got me down as 5'8", but I'm taller than that, and it's cool. But the reach game is very, very vicious, and with that reach, we already know everybody's game plan. Everybody turns into a wrestler when they go up with me, and that's just a fact.
Yeah, I guess so. Now let's get back to your UFC debut against Ram Barao. He missed weight, right? So you had the right to stay away from that fight, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. But that fight was definitely exciting, and to me, everybody's the same. So, like, everybody's putting so much hype on him, and which one is well deserved because he's a legend of the game. But
Yes.
in reality, we have people like me that at the time wasn't really watching UFC or into the hype of everything. He was just a normal person to me. But it was truly awesome to end up fighting him, even though he came in overweight and everything. But granted, no one knows the life of a fighter of cutting weight and basically it could be their last fight or whatnot. Last advantage, or the fact is it's hard just to cut the weight. It ends up happening. When you're a fighter, that's what happens. Stuff like that happens. So people that end up getting mad about things, they just don't understand. Like, hey, everybody doesn't have the best weight cut. Hey, everybody doesn't have the best nutrition, stuff like that, But even though he's in a league where you should honestly understand, regardless of the situation, it was a good fight, and I was excited to honestly perform in front of Brazil, in his hometown, with his fans, and also walking away with the W.
How did you defeat Anderson dos Santos?
That was so great. That was real great because I came off like a tough loss, which things didn't occur. I wasn't feeling right that when I fought the loss I ended up having when I ended up losing. It ended up changing my life, and it was like a downhill thing. Just practicing, I also had a court of me trying to be my son's life and everything since I got all settled, even though it was settled not in the direction I wanted to. It got settled of understanding where I'm at. And so when I got down to Dos Santos, it was like an opening, and me and him actually stole the show that night, which I feel UFC owes us $50,000 at the moment each. That's just a fact on that.
Now I have one question. I'm a big fan of Chito Vera, I'm not gonna lie to you. So, Nathaniel Wood or Chito Vera, who is tougher opponent?
Tougher opponent is Chito. And just the fact is that I end up believing that. Actually, put it just like this. Wood, I would have beat him. Just, like I said, the way he got set up into that situation, me fighting the flu, court system, a whole nine, my head wasn't all there. And I don't like using excuses. He was a better fighter. But if we fight 9 more times, I'm winning all 9. Chito, he's more dangerous. He's a jits dude, and he can kind of come up in multiple varies of ways of coming up with wins, and he ended up coming up with a different win against me where he's normally used to submitting and finishing. He didn't submit me or finish me off of his main goal, his black belt level. He ended up getting a stoppage, which is all points to him, and that was off of a bad mistake that I ended up doing by ducking my head after I got done punching or got done landing my 2 combination. He just simply, as soon as I ducked, he took advantage, and everything went down from there. But at the end of the day, Chito always gets points for me, and that he already knows how it is and how I feel, and where my mindset is me and him got to run it back and do that. Because I end up understanding he has a big fan base, and hell, I'm even a fan of him. But to be the best, you got to beat the best, and Chito's up there. He's ranked for a reason. He's one of the people that's the best, So me beating him or me getting a rematch and running that back, and when I look at it, it kind of places you where I'm at, because when I fought him, he wasn't ranked. After he beats me, he gets ranked. It kind of shows you where my level's at and where he's at. So, and me making it a good fight for him in the world, and even people from where he's from, ended up loving it. I ended up getting fans off of that, so it was a good fight. I ended up liking people like that and liking their fans that understand, hey, even though he beat me, the thing is, I ended up putting on the show for him and everybody loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, so in your last fight, I watched the whole fight. It was very, very much interesting fight to me. Don't know what people told you, but I think it was a very interesting one. How did you break your arm? I mean, during the fight you were not showing it that much. I was watching the whole fight. That's why I'm asking you.
Okay, so basically, I broke my arm literally the first time he kicks. Like, as soon as he kicks, it got broke. My adrenaline wasn't pumping. I ended up checking it with my right arm. He breaks it. But, all right, shake it off. Now the adrenaline's kind of coming in because you got to think about it. Someone's trying to kill you. So it's like, all right, hey, since it's the case, you're not thinking about it. As soon as it ends up vibing out, the second kick that followed up, it was like for sure he broke it. It even got to the moment that you see me like shake my hand a little bit.
Yes.
And like, yeah, kind of like stretch it out. This is literally all in the first round. That's when he like broke it. But my eyes, it was one of those, hey, I'm a tough guy. It doesn't matter how you end up looking at it. Like I fight through a lot of injuries and stuff like that. I broke my hand like multiple times. And like just like this, the fight that I fought with Trent Moe, where he came off that walk-off, I fought him with the broken hand. Right? My left hand was broken. And I got that, receiving that against Lopez. And then I went into fighting Dennis Paiva with the broken hand. So these are things that I'm like, I understand and accustomed to. Because like, if I would have took the time to heal it, I would have made it to the UFC. But instead, I took these fights with one hand, and there you go. So I'm used to having things not in my, not in my favor. Like I said, I fought a whole year with a bucket tear. That's a meniscus tear, and you see a lot of people like Barbara, who fought on McGregor's card. She ended up blowing out her MCL, and she couldn't stable. Her knee wasn't stabilized, so every time she put pressure on it, she would either lock up or she collapsed. It's too much. And I dealt with something like that on my MCL for a whole year. So when it comes to pain, as long as I know it's there or I already felt it before, I'm okay. So against Martinez, it was one of those situations. I already knew it. I was okay with it. And at the end of the day, I'm here to put on a show for the fans and give what the fans want, Because I think about it, if I would have easily walked away, it would have been bad news, No one would have loved me and not, stuff like that. I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to be loved. And that's how I placed it. And I know a lot of people felt like, some people felt that Martinez won. In reality, if you end up looking and studying the fight, he didn't win. It ends up happening. A lot of people come biased just by hearing Joe, but you rewatch the fight and then rewatch the fight on mute, you'll clearly see, all right, he didn't win. Don't get me wrong, he got good shots and yeah, he got good advantage, but second round, I got hurt the last 40 seconds, right? But I'm still responding and returning fire and everything. But the first 4 minutes, I'm blazing my man. I'm blazing the young cat. I'm hitting him with combination, hurting him. He even take 2 shots and he even received a knee that was ended up hurting, and I could end up finishing it if my right hand wasn't broken. It's one of those things. It even landed a switch knee in the air, but I took control and dominated him for 4 minutes and 10 seconds. And the last 40 seconds, he hits a body shot, which won. It comes down to that moment having a broken arm and everything. But it came down to that the last 40 seconds where it was like, okay, you hurt, but not hurt to the moment of knocking you out or stopping the fight. It was hurt as in, hey, jump on it. He wins the exchange, but the first 4 minutes, 10 seconds, I won every exchange. So for anybody that gave him the second round, that's kind of awkwardly weird because we don't judge the fight for 1 minute. You judge the fight for the full 5 minutes, And that's the same thing with the first round. I won the first round clearly. I even dropped him in the first round. To the moment I forced him to start trying to take me down, And then on top of that, finished the last 15 seconds with the full exchange with him and was winning the exchange and pushing him back to the game. Whole thing is, I'm in front of him. I was in his face trying to throw. 4th round, hey, go and get what I can end up doing. And I know I definitely made him miss a lot more than what he landed. And when I say a lot more, we're talking like, hey, a lot. And there were some to the moments that he didn't even swing. He was just kind of like, he got to that moment where he was only swinging like every 30 seconds or after I exchanged with him. So it kind of puts the point as in, how do you really judge that? judge the fight. You watch it, rewatch it, watch it on mute. You end up understanding. I beat the guy. I beat the kid. Good good strikes for him, but significant strikes are my favorite because I placed the fight. That's how it is.
About that fight, I scored it 30-27 for you. Only, but for the same reasons. But for the same reasons you said, because you were more offensive in that fight. You were way more offensive. I don't know. I know according to Octagon rule book that the fighter who's more offensive, he should get the round if it's even. So the fighter who's more offensive should get it. But I think you had better control during 3 rounds. I don't know. I'm not a ref, but that's how I judge it. Yeah.
No, you didn't. That's like it's perfect, and that's how Solis kind of he judged it. And I'm glad that you ended up saying 30-27 because I felt the same way. And like how you stated, it kind of comes into control. People are saying that he was in control, but in reality, he really wasn't. Because I'm a rhythm fighter. If you end up looking at the tradition of Taekwondo and the tradition of boxing, it's a rhythm type fight. I'm like water. It kind of comes down to the ocean kind of might be very calm, or it come as in super waves, and you might end up getting a whirlwind or a cool whirlwind type thing. It ends up coming of how the ocean is flowing or how the water is moving that day. And the thing is, for them to say he had cage management, it's like, no, it wasn't cage management. Cage management is triple G for a boxer, for like the way he cuts off the rings and cut off his opponent. That's ring/cage management, but not the way that Martinez was kind of moving. He was only following me, and like how you said, I was more offensive. He didn't swing until I swung, and it got to this moment. If I got lazy, he might land, but it was like I stated, he was missing a lot more than he was landing. But he didn't throw until I ended up engaging the fight. That's what happened.
Now I'd like to tell you one example. I don't know how was your fight scored because I honestly didn't listen how the judges were scoring because I was 100% sure about your win. But do you remember the match between Lucia Pudilova and Liz Carmouche? Lucia Pudilova won 1 round according to one referee. I don't know whether you remember that. And for example, my brother was behind me and he had doubts only about 3rd round. About the first 2 he was sure these were for you. For 3rd round he was kinda... he was not sure who won. But for the first 2 he was, and I don't know, it's kind of hard to be the referee. I don't know whether you agree, but being the judge is the worst thing in the world.
No, I do agree. I do. And this is what I end up saying. Like, when it comes to, split decisions or leaving it up to the judges, you don't know how they kind of score it or how they go about it. Because, say, for instance, if you were the judge and you did, you scored me, like how you just scored me, 30-27, yes. You'll be the one that everybody will be mad at the moment. And in reality, when it comes into how you end up looking at it as in judging the fight, it's your opinion. It doesn't matter how you look at it, it's your opinion. This is why it comes as in who you feel like won. And people can't get mad at a judge for if they feel like I won or they feel like that person won. People can't end up doing that. At the end of the day, it's don't leave it to the judges, finish the fight. And if you don't, you'll learn the lesson. And I learned my lesson. So every time that I end up fighting, I always try to end up finishing the fight. This is why everybody gave me the name just to highlight, because anytime I fight, I'm going for it. So it's just a little attitude about it. How perspective of how you look at things. So what you said and the fight that you brought up, it's true. I felt the same way. And in my fight, you're not the only one that scored me 30-27. It's just that it's his hometown. And since Joe said something, that everybody's trying to jump on the bandwagon because Joe said it. And it's like, in reality, Joe, he's very biased to a lot of things. In his eyes, if you can't walk out, you lost. And he's talking about like John Jones when he ended up losing, or Reyes. Somebody ended up not able to walk out, but he actually won the fight. But in Joe's eyes was, since he couldn't walk out, he lost. And it's like, nah, you can't do that. The fight is 15 minutes. Or he says the last two rounds is the most important rounds. No. If you are fighting a 5-round fight, every round is important, not just the last 2 rounds. Because if you end up judging that way, then why do we have the first 3 rounds? Why don't we just do 2 rounds then? So it's just a little small things like that. Like, that's how his mindset is, and that's how he speaks. He thinks the last 2 rounds is more important than the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, actually, One thing that makes me different from other podcasters is because I respect the fighter. I don't respect the rating and such things. I always respect the fighter, you know. Whoever is the fighter, he has my respect. I mean, everybody who enters the octagon and such things, it's never easy, you know. So, what inspires you and helps you when you're down? I mean, you had a lot of bad moments in your life from your story, and
Oh yeah, that I do. Worst one is my son. Getting taken away from me and me trying to fight for his life. So that's like a down spiral. And it's kind of like sad that someone can end up hating someone so much or feel that direction. And the only thing I do is automatically bring love to the world. So that is basically a heartbreaking, bad moment of my life. But since it happened, like I said, it pushed me into the direction to go to the straight MMA route. And it made me want to have value in my life, because I actually gave everything up for my son, and since that happened, if the judge looked down on me, it was one of those, I had to do something I'm great at, and it's something that I ended up loving, and I was a fighter growing up. It doesn't matter how you look at it, we didn't have everything, and everything we had, we got was something that we fought for, so it was me pushing that, and now it got me where I'm at right now, so those are like my, I know it's not about the whole downfalls inside the cage and everything, but this is real life. I'm a real person with feelings, and that's what ended up happening.
would you like to add anything? Would you like to greet someone?
Yeah. Love to everybody. Thank you, honestly, brother. Thank you for ending up having me and everything. So, yeah, shout out to my son. Shout out to my future son that's coming, will be born April 1st. To my family, friends, my loved one, my teammates and everything. And all my sponsors that are like showing me nothing but love. Yeah. And and again, my fans, if I didn't say it again, to all my fans and fans that I'm building, if you're a fan of me, that means you end up loving me. And that's something that I can truly cherish and appreciate. So thank you.
Thank you for this lovely interview. I hope we speak another time. Well, I will now start converting the video. It will probably be online tomorrow. I will send you the link.
Okay, cool. Thank you for having me, brother. So yeah, just end up letting me know anytime. Reach out. As long as you ask, I'm down.
All right. Thank you so much, Andre. Hear you all next time. Have a great day.
Likewise.